You're listening to X-Ray FM at KXRY Portland and KQAC HD3 Portland, and at 107.1 and 91.1 FM, and streaming online everywhere at xray.fm. The hour is now 10 p.m. Pacific, which means you're tuned into Past Haunts. I'm your host, R. Barrows. I'm welcoming back my special guests, the PDX Motorcycle Film Festival crew. I got Dave, Chris, and Tom here. Hi guys, how you doing?
Great.
Yeah.
Welcome back. It's been about just a little over a year since you were last here, and I'm sure a lot's changed. So we're going to cover a lot of what's been going on with this year's festival, what you got planned for the future, and some more glimmers into stories of the past, I hope. Why don't we give listeners who are new a little bit of an orientation?
Sure. We collectively run the Portland Motorcycle Film Festival, and this will be our 7th year. And we do it for several reasons. One is to showcase motorcycle films to the folks in Portland, Oregon in the middle of winter, our rainy and wet times. Second is it's a fundraiser, and that is to raise money for for safety gear used at OMRA, which is the Oregon Motorcycle Road Racing Association, and we race out at Portland International Raceway. Mostly we purchase air fence, but other things too. And then third, it's a way to bring the Portland motorcycle community together in the middle of winter, and we really like seeing our friends, and we lure them with films, and we encourage them to come to the Hollywood Theater to do that.
And there's lots of beer involved, from what I hear.
Yeah, we were very proud of our reputation with the Hollywood Theater, and we definitely the very first year, I think we were told by the gentleman who ran the theater, you guys drink a lot of beer. And we realized that we set the record for beer drinking at any single event at the Hollywood Theater. And every year we challenged the folks who watch to beat that record.
Right on. And real quick, for listeners out there also, let's put a name to a voice. So why don't you each kind of introduce yourselves, maybe perhaps a little bit insight into what your specific roles are, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So I was just talking, it's Chris Page, and I am now the former president of the Oregon Motorcycle Road Racing Association. I did that for 5 years, and I've raced with the club since 1999, and continue to race and represent OMRA in this. Tom?
Yeah, my name's Tom Parker. I'm a motorcyclist and a film buff, and so I handle a lot of the judging, organizing the judging, taking the lead on the programming, although we collectively decide what films get shown.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
And I'm Dave Friesen, and at the festival I kind of keep the show running, making sure all the volunteers are keeping busy and everybody's having a good time.
A little bit of air traffic control.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right on. So you guys have been doing this.
If you're not having a good time, we'll direct you to Dave.
So what year number is this for the festival?
I believe it's 7.
Yeah, this is our 7th festival.
7th year. That's a lot of planning. Has it gotten easier with time, or is it getting more challenging? Are you guys starting to see signs that you might need to expand based on the fact that you're selling out like within seconds of putting links up?
Yeah, we do need to look at how we're going to expand the capacity, how we're going to let more people see the films, because that's gotten easier. Selling tickets has gotten easier over the years.
Why don't you let listeners also know specifically about when and where it is this year?
So the dates are the 24th and 25th of January, and it's always the last weekend of the first month of the year, and it's at the Hollywood Theater in Portland, Oregon, which is a fantastic place. If you've never been there, built in 1926 and renovated. It too is a nonprofit, just like our organization, but a beautiful theater with a terracotta facade and a 50-foot screen. And I'll tell you for sure, seeing these things on the 50-foot screen is a different experience than screening them on a big screen TV. It's certainly a different experience than,
And sometimes it's the first time that the directors have ever, or the filmmakers have ever seen their film on that size of a screen.
That's pretty amazing. I can't imagine what that must be like for them, for those that do see it for the first time. Do you find it challenging to keep people who are submitting films, to kind of keeping their films under wraps or from wider distribution onto things like Amazon and Netflix and things like that? Or is it pretty common to see them kind of cross over?
We'd like to think that we're as big as Sundance, but we don't have a premiere requirement. So films can be released; they can have screened at other festivals. We don't require them to not be screening somewhere else or not be in distribution already.
Yeah, I was at CC last week, and I overheard someone saying that you guys are sort of the Cannes Film Festival of motorcycles. So I'm surprised that people wouldn't give it a little more exclusivity and want to really, keep it just under wraps and have you be the big premiere.
Don't let our heads get any bigger than they already are.
Were there any unique experiences this year when coming down to the selections? Anything that stood out from previous years in terms of the way you came to an agreement on it?
So it's always an interesting experience when we sit down and actually go through the selections. Each of us have our own taste, but that's, I think, what makes it so great is there's a little bit of each of us in the films that get selected, and we do compromise. Some films I might hate and somebody else might like, and
I don't think we've ever disagreed.
no.
I love our process. I love the fact that certainly there are some films that we all think are good.
Yes.
But it's that middle ground where one of us or two of us will really enjoy something and the other won't, and the back and forth is fun. We keep it fun, even if we disagree with a smile, and then you let your friend make his case.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do.
I know you, the PDX Motorcycle Film Festival is into my awareness, and I was actually listening to a motorcycle podcast where they talked about different motorcycle film festivals around the world, but you guys were kind of one of the first to really kind of go for it. I know there's been a couple as well that were right around the same time. Have you been to any other motorcycle film festivals in the country, outside the country, or vice versa?
Yeah, the Toronto Motorcycle Film Festival, when they were getting up and running, Caius, the guy who runs that festival, reached out to us, and I talked to him for a bit about, don't do it, it's a terrible idea. And then I went up there for their first year.
From the films of last year, which of them was most positively surprising to you in the audience response?
I can tell you that the most kind of heartfelt moment in the film festival last year. There was a German gentleman who rode his motorcycle around the world, and in that film, his wife appears, or his girlfriend at the time, now wife, and they let us know the reason he couldn't come was because they were having a child, and so we sent him a video of us on stage, congratulating him on his film, and then we turned the camera toward the audience, and everybody in the whole theater cheered, and it basically made them break into tears. But we had a nice relationship there, and the festival was just there was kind of a nice relationship there. So
why don't you let listeners know a quick rundown of what the lineup's looking like this year?
So I'll mention the feature films for sure, and they're Wayne, and that's a feature film about Wayne Gardner and GP racing in the 80s. And then there's Slow Ride Home, and that is a film about a scooter ride across the country. We're looking forward to those folks coming to the festival because they mostly live in Seattle, and that film will put a smile on your face. Then there's Lanio, Utah, and that is a film about racing in salt flats. And Fast and Left, which Tom just mentioned, flat track racing film, and Motorcycle Man, which is a film about Dave Roper, who is a longtime motorcycle racer. And then there's a series of short films. I think we've got something like 10 more of them, and those get kind of interspersed with the features. We get film submissions from all over the world, which surprises me every year. In Portland, Oregon, when you're looking at films from India and Indonesia and Japan and so on. And I really take a lot of pleasure in those films in particular, because you get a different perspective on motorcycling. And we've got a really interesting film this year from Indonesia where these kids build crazy kind of contraptions that start as motorcycles, and there's this whole little subculture that you would never see if we didn't have a chance to see it through the film festival. So I guess I just say I love those surprises, and they are surprises, and they're out of my personal context and personal experience, and I'm just I'm so enthusiastic about seeing them. You watch that thing and you go wow, and and I hope that there are more and more of those.
And that's part of our selection process too. Is we do want to bring films to Portland about motorcyclists that our audience would never ever see any other way. So we do get a huge variety, and we do like to educate them in a way. This is something that's happening in the motorcycling world, but it's in a different part of the world that you'd never see.
That makes sense.
I feel like sometimes we're educating them against their will, but we do want to educate them.
Well, you do. You just got to intersperse it with a certain amount of jumps and a certain amount of,
Yeah.
it's.
I mean, given that the festival sells out so quickly every single year, do you think there's any single element or single aspect that you can attribute to that success?
I mean, one of the things we covered at the top again is that it is the dead of winter in Portland here, and for motorcyclists, there's very little things to do except for work on your bikes or get together with your friends and talk about your bikes, and this brings all those people together into one large audience all at once.
Giving the local community like a very dense opportunity to see one thing after another about motorcycles on a giant screen with all their friends. It's just, I think it's hard to deny the appeal of that. If you're into bikes, you just gotta be into this, and it's not just about the films, it's also about seeing each other, and it's about the party that kind of ensues at intermission.